basket full of thank yous. I want to start by saying thank you for sending Claire McCaskill to the United States Senate. Love those tough women, yes. And I want to say thank you for what you're going to do, and that is send Jason Kander to the United States Senate. I'm with Jason. Are you with Jason? All right. So look, it is great to be here in Kansas City. Now, I got a lot of reasons to come here. I was born and raised in Oklahoma. It's okay. But I developed a fine appreciation for Kansas City barbecue, so I'm hoping to eat before I get packed back off to Massachusetts. I also want to say I represent the state that has the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I wanted to check out the College Basketball Hall of Fame. Pretty fabulous, I gotta say, nicely done. But most of all, I am here because this is a chance to talk about how we build a future for our families. Not just for some of our families, but for all of our families. Yeah, that's what this is about. Jason Kander has spent his career in the Army, in the Missouri State Legislature, as Secretary of State, fighting for working families. That's what he does. He's not just out there to fight for the rich and powerful. Thank you, they're doing just fine on their own. He's out there to fight for everyone else, to make sure they've got a real chance in this country. That's why we're here. Now, you know, you'll hear a lot of campaign rhetoric, a lot of vague promises, but I'm here because I want a chance to fight side by side with a man like Jason who has the right kind of values. I admit that this is personal for me. When I was growing up, my daddy sold fencing, he sold carpeting, he ended up as a maintenance man. He had a heart attack when I was 13. My mom answered phones at a minimum wage job at Sears to just try to keep our family above water. Now, I have 3 older brothers, and I learned growing up from my older brothers. My oldest brother, Don Reed, was career military, 288 combat missions in Vietnam. Yep. I learned from him that we honor our promises to our service members and our vets. That's who we are. You bet. My middle brother, John, when he got out of the Air Force, he worked construction, and he got a good union job operating a crane. Today, he's retired, his knees are shot, but he's got a pension because of that union job. I learned from him. I learned from him that unions built America's middle class, and unions will rebuild America's middle class. Yes! Yes! And my youngest brother, David, when he got out of the Army, he started a small business. And when that one didn't work out, he started another one. And today, he's retired, and all he's got left is his Social Security. I learned from him that we honor working people by protecting and expanding Social Security. I believe in that. And me, 3 big brothers, I was a baby. I was a baby, and there was just one thing I wanted in my life, always. I always wanted to be a teacher. Can we hear it for America's public school teachers? Yes. Yep. And look, from the time I was little, all I ever wanted to do was be a teacher. I used to line my dollies up to teach it. It was tough being one of my dollies when I was growing up. It really was. You didn't do your homework, always on them. My parents would have done anything they could for me, but they had no money for college. So, how did I end up as a public school teacher? The answer is I went to a commuter college in Texas that cost $50 a semester, and it opened a million doors for me. And here's what I learned from that. I learned that every kid has a right to an education without getting crushed by student loan debt. Yes. Yep. You bet. I made it through, and I taught school, and eventually I ended up going to law school, and I even became a law professor. Woo! Who knew? But I learned one more lesson out of that, and that is that I believe that the law should apply equally to everyone. Anyone in here hear of Wells Fargo? Just today, they announced that their profits will exceed $5 billion. Well, I believe that no one has a right to cheat people and then walk away. And if CEOs break the law, they should be investigated and go to jail. That's right. You bet. I believe in that America, the America of my brothers, the America I grew up in. But I worry about what's happening in this country today. I believe that that America is at risk, that we live in a world where Washington works great for the rich and the powerful. For everyone else, not so much. Wages are under attack. Pensions are under attack. Unions are under attack. Today, our very democracy is under attack. Voting rights, civil rights, women's rights, they're all under attack. Look around us. Look around us. Taxes keep getting cut for the rich and the powerful. And who paid for it? Infrastructure now in this country is falling apart. Research spending is down a third over 30 years ago. And education, what was supposed to be that great equalizer, those great opportunities, today the cuts in support for education means someone going to a state school adjusted for inflation will pay 300% of what her mom or dad paid a generation ago. Think about that. And what happens when government regulators run scared and big banks can do whatever they want? Well, they build up their profits by cheating people. And in 2008, they brought on the worst crash since the Great Depression. Even today, Wells Fargo thinks that they can cheat their customers, pay a fine, and walk away. I'm here to say no more. No more. Jason and I will fight back. That's what we'll do. Now look, I wish that Roy Blunt was part of the solution, but he's not. He's part of the problem. And I want to give you a very specific example on this. My first bill that I ever introduced in the United States Senate was to help students who were getting crushed by student loan debt, help them refinance that debt, the way you can refinance your mortgage, or the way you can refinance a business loan. When the Senate voted on that bill in 2014, there were 523,000 people right here in Missouri who would have been able to refinance their loans. Those people, many of you in this audience, could have by now saved hundreds or even thousands of dollars. We brought that bill up for a vote, and every single Democrat, every single independent, and even 3 Republicans voted to move that bill forward, but not Roy Blunt. Yeah, you think that stinks? Wait till I get to the part about why he didn't vote for it. He didn't vote for it because it would have caused millionaires and billionaires to pay a little bit more in taxes to pay for it. For Roy Blunt, it was more important to protect millionaires and billionaires than to help students right here in Missouri. Missouri needs a senator that will stand up for students. It needs Jason Kander. Yes, yes, that's what we need. Yes. But that's not all. I mean, this is the deal. Once you're in the United States Senate, people get to look at your record. When we voted on a budget resolution to protect and expand Social Security, Roy Blunt voted no. When we voted to raise the minimum wage, Roy Blunt voted no. And when we voted for equal pay for equal work, Roy Blunt voted no. Well, you know what I think? I think that when Roy Blunt asks for your vote, the good people of Missouri should vote no on Roy Blunt. Yep. Yeah. Now let's be fair. Roy Blunt doesn't always vote no. When it came to fast-tracking the TPP trade deal, Roy Blunt voted yes. In fact, on this one, his vote is even worse. Roy Blunt supported the TPP, voted for other trade deals that shipped American jobs overseas, and then voted no on legislation to help workers and employers who had been hurt by bad trade deals. And while Blunt votes against raising the minimum wage and helping unemployed workers, he's voted to raise his own pay 12 times in his 20 years in Washington. Look, Missouri needs another senator who will vote for the hard-working people of Missouri, not for Wall Street and giant corporations. Missouri needs Jason Kander. I really wanted to be here today because I like Jason Kander. I mean, it's just the truth. You know, he is a guy who has literally been in the trenches for this country. He signed up for the National Guard after 9/11. He served as an Army intelligence officer in Afghanistan. He trained hundreds of soldiers at Fort Leonard Wood. He knows firsthand that there is no room for partisan bickering in our country. We don't need another leader in Washington who does what's best for himself, his political party, the lobbyists, and his donors. Jason believes that a senator should fight for the people, not for giant corporations and armies of lobbyists. Yes. And that's part of the reason that Jason passed the first major ethics reform in the state legislature in 20 years. He has stood up for campaign finance reform so that everyone in Missouri has a voice, not just the lobbyists. Yes. He's done a lot for small businesses. He believes that government should be on the side of small businesses, the folks who don't have an army of lobbyists and lawyers to help them stash their money in the Cayman Islands. And that's why he fought as Secretary of State, to cut red tape, to give small businesses a break. Exactly the same thing we need to do in the United States Senate. Jason will be a leader. Yep. And Jason fought to help small businesses in Ferguson. That's how you build a future. That's how you build a future. Look, Jason and I have had a lot of chances to talk about this, and it's pretty clear that Jason believes that government should help protect consumers, not turn a blind eye when they get cheated. And that's why he has already worked to return millions of dollars to Missouri families who've been scammed. My kind of guy, Jason, my kind of guy. I'll tell you one more that Jason and I have talked about, and that is, Jason and I both believe that the Senate should not ignore its constitutional duty, like waiting 211 days to have a hearing on a Supreme Court nominee. The Senate should do its job. That's right. That's what Jason believes in, and it's no surprise that powerful groups are dumping money into Missouri. You know, people like Karl Rove and the Koch brothers, they're spending about $14 million that we know of so far to try to keep their buddy Roy Blunt in power. Now, here's how I see this. They may have money and power, but we have our voices and our votes, and there's a lot more of us than there is of them. Yeah. Yep. Yes. So Jason and I have two asks today. The first one is vote. Everybody vote. And when I say vote, I mean you vote, and you bring your mom to vote, and your dad to vote, and your grandma, and your auntie, and your cousin, and your 8-year-old, I'm for it. Bring them all to vote. Registered voters only, of course. But vote, and help get that vote out. But the second part, it's not enough to vote. We also need you to volunteer. Volunteer. You can make phone calls, you can knock on doors, you can give seniors a ride to the polls, you can help with voter protection. You know, no matter what it is you do, you can help. And this is the underline here. Democracy is on the line. You know, the rich and the powerful believe that Missouri is for sale, but we believe in democracy, and that means we're going to volunteer. We're going to make Jason the winner in this race. That's what it will take. Yep. So look, ultimately, whatever else we say, this race comes down to our values. And the reason we get together in these rallies is we come here to commit to work, but we come here to remind each other what gets us up in the morning and what keeps us up late at night. It's about what Jason's fighting for, what I'm fighting for, what I believe everybody in this room is fighting for. So let's spend a minute and remind ourselves of what we fight for. We believe in accountability for big banks, and when CEOs break the law, then send them to jail just like anyone else. Jason and I will fight for that. You We believe that students ought to be able to get a good education without getting crushed by student loan debt. That means debt-free college, and we will fight for it. We believe that parents should be able to send their kids to school without fear that their children will not come home alive. And that means common sense background checks. And Jason and I will fight for that. Common sense. We believe that no one in this country should work full-time and live in poverty. And that means raising the minimum wage, and we will fight for it. Yes. And we believe that every worker has a right to organize for better pay, fairer working conditions, and collective bargaining, and we will fight for it. Yep. We believe that after a lifetime of hard work, that seniors are entitled to retire with dignity. And that means protecting and expanding Social Security and Medicare. Yes, yes, yes. And we believe that instead of tax breaks for giant corporations that send jobs overseas, we should be investing in education and roads and bridges and research and jobs right here in America. Yes, we will fight for it. You bet. And while we're on the subject, we believe that America should not be signing trade deals that leave workers eating dirt, and that means no TPP. Yes. Now I'm going to say something really controversial. Hang on, hang on, hang on. We believe in science. We believe in science, that climate change is real, and that we have a moral obligation to protect this earth for our children, our grandchildren, and their grandchildren. Yes! Yes! We do. I got another one, and I got to tell you, I cannot believe that I have to say this in 2016. We believe in equal pay for equal work and a woman's right to decisions over her own body. Yes! 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 And let's be clear. Donald Trump, this is ugly. Donald Trump calls African Americans thugs, Muslims terrorists, Latinos criminals, and brags about sexually assaulting women. Well, we believe that racism and sexism and bigotry have no place in this country. We believe that Black Lives Matter. We believe in immigration reform. We believe that diversity is what makes this country strong. Yes. Yes. That we do. God, it's good to get together. I could do this all day. I really could, but I'm gonna do just one last one. We believe that millionaires and billionaires and giant corporations should not be allowed to buy our elections and our politicians. Corporations are not people. Overturn Citizens United. Return the government to the people. Yes. 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 Those are our values, and let's be clear. This isn't just a Democratic agenda. It's an opportunity agenda. It's an American agenda. That's what's happening here. Jason is tough. He is smart. He is experienced, and he is going to fight. Fight for his values, fight for our values. Jason is going to fight for us. Now it's time for us to fight for Jason. Are you ready? Are you ready to fight for Jason?